All right, we are now live. Yay, we are live. All right. Okay, I need you guys to tone it down. I'm live. I need you guys to tone it down. I'm live. All right. Hi, I'm live. I'll say we are back, you guys. So let's see what we're going to do here. All right. All right. All right, guys, we are back. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Go ahead and put this out there and both live on both Instagram as well as YouTube. So that, and this is part two and everything. And let's see. Go ahead and try to get this to the group. Let's see. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. So I am live both on Instagram. I want to make sure. Okay, that's Instagram and this is YouTube. Okay. All right. Yes, we are back at it, cause we are back at it, cause, and I'm trying to position it where I can see it. I know it's going to be a delay. I know it's going to be a delay, but nevertheless, I'm working with it. Gonna work with it as best as I can. So that way, we get through it. We get through it. Let's see if that works. I'm going to see what. Hi, blissful evening, golden sugar. Hi, beautiful. Hi, beautiful. Let me see if I can put here and let's send it to the group. See if that works. And see if that works. All right. And see if that works. Okay. So I got that. All right. All right. And we are back. So hopefully this works and everything. And that way I'm on one of my other channels, my other platforms, and I can be able to see, um, I'm able to see the comments. But just remember the comments are a little delayed, you guys, because I'm using one of my other one of my other uh, platforms so that I can see the comments because StreamYard doesn't allow me to see the comments on um, Instagram. Okay. So it doesn't allow me to see the comments on Instagram. And I'm just going to bring this forward a little bit without messing it up. All right. Let's see if I can bring it forward a little bit forward to where it is. Okay. All right. All right. So we're back. Whew, I did it with all that traffic. Oh my gosh. Whew. It was some traffic, but I made it, y'all. I made it. All right. So I took it upon the liberty to go ahead and kind of pre-write everything. Let me see if it's able to see everything or what have you. Okay, so I took it upon myself to go ahead and pre-write everything. Um, so once again, welcome. Okay, and once again, this is the quantum simplified version of what I am about to broadcast. And it's like, what are you broadcasting? The 360-degree you ascended, right? And like I said, we did the descended version a couple of days ago, and now we're doing the ascended version, right? From the third dimensional self to the sixth dimensional self. And the descended version was the ninth dimensional self, to the seventh dimensional self, right? Going into the third dimensional self. But I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to revisit that back periodically. I'm going to always come back to your ninth, eighth, and seventh dimensional self so that you can still understand the wholeness of self so that we can begin to merge all of this together and to have clarity and understanding of what this actually, how this actually is cohesive together so that we could be able to merge it. Yes, Lord, we are here. We are here. I made it, sis. I did. And once again, forgive, the delay. But I do have it in the middle this time so that I can actually see what, everybody is saying and stuff like that on, one of my other profile channels. But it's a delay. It's not as, the same as, before. But so just work with me. Please work with me. And I am so very, very grateful. I'm grateful. All right. All right. Um, hi Trinity. Hey, beautiful. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning in, and I'm grateful. Yes, darling. I'm trying something different, beautiful. Thank you, T Love. I'm grateful. Thank you. You guys are good. As long as y'all good, I'm grateful. Hi, beautiful. Hi. All right, so thank you, Kazi Kaz. Thank you, my friend. I'm grateful. Thank you, my beautiful friend. So we're going to talk about the ascended version. So as I said, I'm just going to do a quick recap. You're doing the same thing on TikTok. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to have a soldier in this. Unification, unification. If you wanna share some of your stuff on because I'm not really on TikTok, but if you want to share some of your stuff on IG so that I can pay it forward, share some of your stuff on IG so that I can pay it forward so that different vibrational versions can be commenced, out there so that I can pay it forward, okay? I would love to see some of the stuff and we can pay it forward and have some unification going on in here because that's what we are all about. That's at least, that's what I'm about. It's important. In my world, it's important. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Um, I'll get paid in TikTok doing what I'm doing. It's hard for me to get past the front door of TikTok for some reason. Um, and it's just I got to get past that vibrational door because it's so for me it's so it's so hard. The energy is so not I have to get past that front door energy. So yeah, and then also too I can't go live because I don't have the I think I don't know how many people you need to go live there. I don't have the I don't know how many people you need to go live. I think you need like 1,000 people or something like that to go live there or something like that. And I don't have the capacity yet. So, and I haven't gotten that capacity. But yeah, we're working on it. It's for the love. I do love what I'm doing. You don't need the numbers. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I do have TikTok. I do have TikTok. So if I could go live there and just do my own thing without, all of that other stuff, it's just um oh, you don't have 1,000. Oh, okay. They must have since relaxed it because the last I heard that you had to have some kind of, there was a quota. So I didn't bother, I didn't bother to yeah, because I don't, that energy over there is a bit toxic for me. So I didn't really go on there. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, yes, yes, definitely. I would love to get more information about that because if I could do my own thing, you are Kazi. Okay, okay, all right, then we could talk about it. Definitely, definitely. If they relaxed it a bit and I can get through that front door, then I'm copacetic. I'm copacetic, I'm copacetic. I'll do the damn thing. I'll do the damn thing. All right, thank you, beautiful. I'm grateful. Thank you. All right, so in the last session, we were talking about the third dimensional self, being the discovery of self, discovery of self. Okay. Right? And so we oftentimes hear about, it being the mirror, right? The mirror. I see you, you see me, we're in the discovery of self because the third dimension is the forgotten self. Right. So when we descended into the third dimensional self, we chose to forget self to discover self. And so to discover self, right, we're discovering self through the mirrored self. And what is the mirrored self? The mirrored self is I'm mirroring myself through you. You're mirroring yourself through me. Okay. And how do you mirror yourself? Through resonance, right? Through vibrational resonance. Okay. Okay, sweetheart, I will. I definitely will, Miss Trinity. I definitely will. So, what we resonate with, okay? You resonate with this vibrational aspect of self. Okay. And so the mirror, the mirror, the mirror, the mirror, the mirror. Okay. Through the mirrored self. Okay. So that's how we came into the aspect of the discovery of self because we chose in the third dimensional self to for the forgotten self. Now, mind you, I haven't gotten into the dissonant self. Okay. I'm going to talk about the dissonant self, but I really just want to kind of focus on the discovery self, the forgotten self, and why we are in the mirroring of self, and why we have so many different stories and different things of that nature, so that you can begin to discover yourself, to get to the hold on, the evolution of the human experience, right? So, and this is how, let me put this out there. This is how I understand my now moment that has gotten me to, you know, the clarity and understanding to where I'm at. Now, once again, there are many different versions of how one gets to their knowing. So, this is how I'm getting to my knowing of how I understand. You have a template within thyself. And I want to make this clear. You have a divine template within yourself of illumination to how you have a discovery path of how you get to your knowing. Okay. So if you have authored, if your template in your descendant self authored this resonance to align you to be in this space, okay, then your descendant self authored this resonance to be in this space for you to be in your evolution of remembrance. So this is a part of your descended template, right? To be in authorship of your remembrance. So that was the part of your descended template before you descended into the forgotten self. This was a part of your template to remember. Okay, that's why you're here. Okay, because if you didn't want to be here, you wouldn't be here. If there was no resonance, you would turn it off. This would not be the channel for you to broadcast. Okay, so somewhere in your descension into when you are in your knowing state, your ninth dimensional self, before you descended into form, into your however you descended into form, whether you came into birth, whether you shifted into from one dream state into another dream, from another dream state, however you came into form. Okay, your knowing state put this into your template to in your remembrance. Okay, there's a there's many different ways, but I just gave you two. Okay, I just gave you two ways. Either by portal, you portaled in, or you vibrationally shifted in. Okay, through frequency, through vibrational templates. Okay. All right. All right. So the mirror self, right, is is basically you coming into the discovery through other versions of the fractal use. Okay, other versions of the fractal use. Okay, the resonance, the vibrational resonance to how the eighth, seventh, and the sixth dimensional selves is authored. So most times the mirror self in the third dimensional self is tailored through the external versions of you because you're looking through outside of yourself. You're finding resonances through external versions of yourself, right? So when you look at me and you look at somebody else and you're looking at somebody else, that authoring is based off of the ninth, eighth, seven versions of you by how those stories have been authored and the energy containers, the frequency containers that those authorships are actually created in. And so we're going to get to understand the ninth, eighth, and seventh aspect of selves. But before we go into that, there's a key componency that I want you guys to understand. Hi, Mr. Overett. It's a key containership that I want you guys to understand how I understand the human experience evolution within the ninth dimensional cells. Okay. All right. So you have Okay. Yes. Check on it. Yeah, go ahead and check, Jemiah. I'm doing a live, okay? Okay. Check on it. Yes, Jemiah, I'm doing a live, okay? Okay. All right. So your ninth, eighth, seventh, and sixth dimensional self, right? That's knowing. Okay. So remember this state. Know thyself. Okay. All right. Right. So the ninth, the eighth, the seventh, and the sixth is the knowing. Okay. The fifth dimensional state is the being. So the knowing, when you know thyself, you're being from that knowing. All right. The fourth and the third dimensional self in the higher octave, the third dimensional self in the higher octave of the third dimensional self is the awakening. Okay. The fourth dimensional self is the remembrance and the awakening. Okay. The third dimensional self in the middle phases, remember, I haven't added the distortion, I haven't added the dissonance to it yet, is a discovery, okay, of the forgotten self. But I haven't added the dissonance to it as of yet. Okay, I haven't added the dissonance to it. So this is all without the dissonance or the distortion. Okay. All right. So you guys got it yet? And like I said, once I'm done, when I'm finished, any story that you hear, I don't care where it come from. I don't care if it got the Orishas. I don't care if it got the Anunnakians. I don't care if it got the Lyrians. I don't care where you hear it from. I don't care where in the planetary system it came from. By the time I'm done with y'all, by the time you're done with this formula here, y'all gonna have some energy hygiene. And you gonna know where the energy reside, where the energy reside, where the energy reside, where the energy. I love that boy. Where the energy reside. Well, you know what he said, when the money reside, where the money reside, where the energy reside, where the energy reside. You gonna know where the energy reside. Okay? You gonna know where the energy reside. You gonna know where the energy reside. Okay? I love me some him because I love me some him. All right? All right. Now, so the ninth is the first. The ninth is the okay. So the wholeness. So the reason why, okay, so let me do this real quickly. So in the human, I'm running out of space. I probably should have got a bigger board because I write big. Okay, so you guys got this part right here, right? You guys got this part where the ninth, the eighth, the seventh, and the sixth is the knowing. Okay. The fifth dimensional self is the being. The fourth and the third in the higher octave is the remembrance and the awakening. Okay. And the third in the lower self is without dissonance, is the discovery of the forgotten self. You guys got that? Okay. I just want to make sure everybody said yes. Okay, so you guys are good on that. Okay. And I don't know if is it recording. Okay, so it is recording. Okay. On the YouTube side. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase this. All right. Okay. All right. So, all right. So the 360 degrees U. Okay. So when you get to the lower self, the third dimensional U to the sixth dimensional U, right? There's two choices, right? It's either you go to a 0 point or you complete. Okay? The 0 point is the reset, and the 9 is completion. Right? Okay? So it's either you're going to do this or you're going to do this in the experience. Now, that can happen in many different ways. Okay? Okay? Now, okay, so if you decide to complete it in your ascension and go to wholeness, you go to 9. You go back to your 9 dimensional self, right? You go back to your 9 dimensional self, which is your knowing, that eternal flame. Let me make a better star. That eternal flame that never ceased to exist. Always is, always knowing, always being. Cosmo said he got it. You got it, Kazi. T Love got it. Okay. Who else? Everybody. Okay, so that always ceased to exist, right? Okay, so the 9, you either do this or you go to 0 point. Now, 0 point in love, because this is where I choose not to kind of go there, because the discovery of self is not going to understand the completion of self at this level. They're more to understand the completion of self at the 9, more so than at the 0 point. Okay, so this is where the 0 point comes at dissonance. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, you say, oh yeah, Kai say, oh yeah, right? The 0 point is understood at dissonance. Okay, and the 0 point is not understood in divine unconditional love. But we're not going to talk about the dissonance part just yet, because most people don't. That's a hard pill to swallow, because people don't understand it yet at that calibration of energy, because it was, the dissonance is fear based. Okay, they have a fear based sense of understanding of 0 point. They don't understand 0 point in. Okay, so there 0 point. T Love asks, what is 0 point? Okay, let me. Okay, do you okay before? Okay, let me write that question down. T Love question. What is 0? So that I don't forget. Okay, so do you guys understand, overstand? I hope you guys brought some paper. I know I got the video and stuff, But do you guys understand this part here? So I'm gonna I gotta get a bigger board. I'm gonna buy a bigger board. I'm gonna take this part off. I thought this board would be big enough. It's not recording. Oh wow, it says that it's recording. Let me see. Yeah, it says that it's recording. Oh wow. It says that I'm live. Oh, you know why? Because you don't see me there. So I don't know. I don't know. So let me end because it says that I'm recording. Okay, so I don't know what to do. Wow. So I don't know what to do. It says recording in progress. So I don't know what to do. So let me see. I don't know. You saw it the yeah, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did wrong. Let's see. I don't know what I did wrong. But there is not a live. Yeah, it says that I'm live and I've been on live for 32 minutes. So I'm not sure. I have this is like my first time doing StreamYard and I didn't want it to post. Like I didn't want it to post. So I thought I didn't want it to post right away because the last live it posted right away. So I put it on private. But I guess because I put it on private, maybe that's the reason why it's not showing itself to be it says something about but okay. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you these. But I'm learning. Like I said, I'm learning through trial and error. So these videos is gonna be looking all shabby and raggedy until I get it together. Until we get it together. Studio. Okay, are you guys okay? You want to try and see if you guys see me now? See if you guys can see me now. Okay. It's crazy. I don't it because it says did it ever transform? It's still blue? I don't know. I must be saying some. Okay, well, I know that it's just a what? Okay, well, I know that it's recording. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and just allow it to record. I'm not sure as to. I'm not sure as why it's not. It says upcoming. Okay. Mhm. I changed it to public. Oh my God. I changed it to public, so I'm not sure as to why it reverted to thing. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just leave it as leave it as it is. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it as it is. So I guess everybody is just gonna have to kind of. I'm gonna still look at YouTube, but I'm gonna be back and forth between YouTube and everything, and Instagram. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We go work through the bug. So now I know that upon setting it up, I have to say public. I have to say public. I have to say public. Okay. Huh? All right. So so wholeness 90. I'm gonna get the T love question. What is 0 point? Okay. What is 0 point? And I'm gonna explain what is 0 point. Yeah, Mr. Over, we're just gonna have to just work with it because I don't want to start over because I said so much in the beginning, in the first 30 minutes of the yes, we're learning. We're learning through this process. I tell you, I'm learning by through trial and error. So we're learning. We're learning, but we gotta stick together. We gotta stick together. Okay, we stick it together. We learn it. Um, so as long as you guys got the understanding of the 360 degree, it's either you're going to complete it or you're going to go back to 0 point. Okay. That's the 360. Either you're going to complete it or you're going to go back to 0 point. So that's the 360 degree. And that's where the wholeness comes into the aspect. So of course, Mr. Overett, my beautiful friend. So that's where the 360 degree of completion comes into commencement. It's either you're going to complete it back to the ninth degree knowing, or the 0 point, which is still all knowing. But whichever route it goes, it's still you're going to come back to the wholeness of self because 0 point is wholeness. And the ninth dimensional self is also wholeness. But the ninth dimensional self is the type of wholeness where you're still able to have an incarnate um experience, okay, because it's dimensional. You're still in the dimensional, you're still dimensional self. The 0 point is that you're surrendering everything. You're dissolving the whole experience back onto the 13th dimensional self. Okay? Back into the 13th dimensional self, which is what one may call the void. Okay? Back into the 13th dimensional self, which is the void. The void. It's not really the void, but well, it is the void, but it's not bad. It's not good. It's just you. It's just another aspect of the divine, the sacred divine self. Another thing about when you get into the knowing of self, you don't fear as much. You don't fear nothing. Like you're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Because you begin to understand yourself in an expansive way, the vastness of your being, because there's a sense of resolve. There's a resolution that comes with you embodying more light of self. Okay. Yeah, yes, yes, T love, So the more exactly, yes. The more you embody more light, especially in form, the more you dissolve more of the dissonance and the density. So you begin to have more compassion. You begin to see things from a different lens. And we're going to the reason why I'm not getting into the dissonance of the distorted version of self just yet, because understanding this aspect of the discovery self, it when you understand this, it dissolves the dissonance. It dissolves the energy of the dissonance. Okay. You line up. Yes, alignment. Yes, you line up and you less likely to fall for people that try to capitalize off of the ignorant side of you. And I'm not saying ignorant in a way that makes the to belittle you, but that's how people capitalize off of you energetically is when you don't know. So, when I said something about, the remembrance is yes, aligned with source energy. Yes. The remembrance is temporary. You don't stay in remembrance that long once you begin to align energetically. And that's why energetic hygiene is important. It's important because remembrance is just to get you over the hump into the essence of being. And when you get into the essence of being, right? You got one more hump to go into the essence of knowing. And once you get into the essence of knowing, that knowing now is going to operate your being instead of discovery. See, right now, I'm aligning. I talked to my mom finally today. See, yes. And when you get into that vibrational state of having compassion, the forgiveness part of you is that much more refined energetically. It changes the dynamic of how you engage with a being that may operate still more in a dissonance. And I changed the word a little bit more than distorted because it's more of a dissonance. It looks like um I think I showed you guys, instead of it looking like instead of the face looking like this, the dissonance is the same face, right? But it looks like this, right? It's not clear. Okay. Right? I don't know if you guys are able to see that. Okay, no, you can't see. No, you're not seeing it. So you guys are more able to see it on this side. So let me go ahead and uh get rid of this. Okay. So dissonance, right? Okay. So instead of the face, I'm gonna do a space, right? Instead of the face looking like this, the face ends up looking like this, right? So it begins to look like ripples. Oh, you're gonna cry. Yes, I know. It's a loving space. It's like what I was telling you, like with my like, just, just because of how you may feel about me doesn't negate how I feel about you, because it's your story, it's your cultivation, it's your energy containers of how your your discovery of self, right, has created your discovery of self, and the resonances has allowed for your eighth, seventh, and sixth created the reality from the third dimensional you, has created the reality in the discovery of self, not the knowing of self. So when you blessed are those that are pure in heart, so the purity of the heart of the discovery of self has allowed through other versions. Hi, Rosa. Hey, beautiful. The purity, of the discovery of self has allowed the eighth, the seventh, and the sixth dimensional self to create the reality through discovery and not knowing, right? So the discovery of self through other mirrors of resonance, right? Okay, resonance, right? But see the different. This is where the distortion part comes into the equation. So what we've been dealing with a lot of other beings is dissonance. Because if it was the version of the discovery of self in pure resonance, in divine truth, in divine truth, then it would not be it in divine truth, then it wouldn't be dissonance, it wouldn't be distorted. You would have a more authentic reflection. And so the ascension would not be as stagnant. It wouldn't, the evolution would not be as stagnant, because you would be resonating with people that are operating in divine truth. You understand what I'm saying? So they will be so okay, so let's say if somebody mirrored me, I operate in my authentic self. So if somebody mirrored me, they're getting a good mirror because I'm operating in my authentic self. I'm not working on no job for no coins, because I'm operating in my sovereignty. So if somebody were to mirror me, they're mirroring a version of self that operating in their sovereignty. They're mirroring a version of self that operating in their authenticity. They're mirroring a version of someone that operates in their pure tone. But if somebody is mirroring somebody that don't operate in their pure tone, and they're operating in hustle because they want that job, they want that money, and they That's where the distortion comes in. They're mirroring somebody that's operating in distortion. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, that's the difference. So if somebody were to mirror me, they're going to get a authentic mirroring, because Pi ain't having it. Sovereignty, yes, a sovereign version. Okay, a sovereign virgin, mirroring a sovereign virgin, because Patrice ain't taking that shit. I tell people all the time, I sell chicken and fries. Don't try to control me. I had an issue with dissonance. You understand what I'm saying? So, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing the games with the illusion. Yes, exactly. So, you would more get an authentic version. I don't wear mask. I don't wear mask. I move from my authenticity. So but when somebody is mirroring dissonance, that's where the issue comes in at. The mirroring of dissonance. That's when the discovery of self, right? Right here, the discovery of self mirroring in dissonance right here, right? That's where it's a little bit more work involved, okay? That's where it's a little bit more work involved. All right, I need some nines in the chat if you understand so far what it is that I'm saying so far. If there is any clarity to what it is that I'm saying so far. Because like I said, by the time I'm done, my goal is for you guys to understand any narrative that you get, any storyline that you get. Cosmo said 99999. Mr. Over said 99999. Any narrative, any storyline that you get, you will be able to understand the energetic hygiene of any story, from the government story, from any platform story. Hi, Moon Daddy. Hi, beautiful. Hi, gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful. And if I'm looking at like I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking at the chat that's right here, because I'm using StreamYard. Hi, you guys. So if you overstand, uh, please put some knives in the chat, because I'm want to make sure that this is hi, beautiful. I want to make sure that this is palatable and digestible, so that any story that you get, there is clarity and understanding to that narrative. Okay. All right. Okay. I know it's a few of you guys in here. So if only three or four of you guys understand, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All right. So the mirrored self in discovery is who you resonate with. Okay. So I'm late, but you can. Hi, Rosa. Hey, beautiful. Okay. All right, baby. So the mirror version in the discovery of the 3D self, right? So the third, I took it down. All right. So I'm gonna put it back up. So since you guys know what this is, it's welcome to Quantum Simplified. The name of the video is Who Are You Broadcasting? And this is the 360-degree you ascended, okay? From the third dimensional self up into your ninth dimensional self. This is the ascended version of you in wholeness. So I'm going to take all of this down so you guys so I can make more room, okay? But I'm gonna leave the welcome up and everything so I can have this. And so now I'm gonna do the third density dissonance. Okay. 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 Oh. Let's see. Okay. 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 Let's see. All right. Are you guys able to see everything? Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So now we all know now the third dimensional you is discovery of self, but the 3D self has two components. It has discovery of self, that is the sovereign you, right? That is the authentic you. So you got the 3D self and authenticity. AUTH. Let me see. Let me make it go down a little bit. You got the 3D you, and then you got the 3D mask, which is the dissonance. Okay. Okay. Now, the 3D mask in dissonance, right, is what created the survival state. Okay. 3D mask in dissonance is your survival self. Okay. Now, I could go into what the survival self, and this is where your lower bandwidths, lower band frequency. Creates realities. Okay. All right. Now, yes. All right. Now, okay. Now, this is where I'm going to take it slow. Okay. This is where I'm going to take it slow because I don't want to confuse anyone. Because I don't want to confuse anyone. So I want y'all to light that chat up if y'all do not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? But I'm going to take it slow. Okay? Because we're talking about dissonance now. Okay? 3D dissonance. Okay? And we're talking about authenticity, 3D authenticity. Okay? All right. So if I was moving in my authenticity, right? Meaning that I'm true to myself, right? I understand that I'm not doing nothing that I don't want to do. I don't care nothing about no. Okay. And let me say this. Let me put this disclaimer out there. I am not anti anything. I'm just pure to tone to myself. And I understand that those who are for whatever they are choosing to experience, they have a right to be. So I am not anti anything. Let me make that clear because everybody has a right to choose how they want to experience and express. And that's one of the major things that I want to make clear. It's not about being anti anything. Beings have a right to experience and express how they want to experience and express. So I'm not anti anything. Okay? Yes, sovereignty, you still can hold a valuable aspect of sovereignty in your third dimensional self, even within the discovery of self, right? Okay? Even in the discovery of self, if you maintain authenticity. So when you are mirroring in resonance, if you maintain your authentic self and you resonate another version of you in authenticity, the discovery self is going to always discover themselves in resonance, right? Mirror resonance. So when I go to a job, right? If I go to a job and I only go to a job that resonates with my authenticity, then I'm going to be aligned. I'm not going to be misaligned, right? Because I'm in resonance. So dissonance, right? Dissonance, let me see. Dissonance creates mis right. Dissonance creates misalignment. So anytime you now become misalignment, right? Then that's when you now go into survival. Misalignment creates survival. because now you have shifted out of your sovereign state, out of authenticity, right? And now you're in dissonance because you're no longer in resonance. You're either in resonance. Let me see. Can you guys see that? No. You're either in resonance or dissonance. Okay? If you're not in resonance, you're in dissonance. Dissonance creates misalignment. Misalignments create survival. Okay? Okay. Okay? I told you, by the time I'm done, any story y'all listen to, y'all gonna have some energy hygiene up in this joint. This is going to be right here. Y'all gonna be thinking once, twice, three times a lady, and I love you. I said once, twice, three times. By the time I'm done, y'all will be able to fit every story into this profile. Okay? Because now you're going to understand the dimensional cells within the human experience. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we're going to try to put it in here. Dimensional cells in the human experience, quantum simplified. Now, the reason why I say quantum simplified, thank you, T-Love. The reason why I say quantum simplified, because there is a complexity of how they talk about the 12 DNA strands and, you know, the 12 dimensional cells and how the planet got to align and all this other kind of stuff with the complexity and all this other kind of stuff. Yes, that's true. Okay. I ain't knocking nobody theory in terms of the crystalline DNA. I'm not knocking that because, yes, it's true. Okay. Um, it steals your energy. Oh, it steals your energy. Mr. Over says, okay, I didn't see it, you guys. I'm sorry, Rose. So my thing is funny, baby. Because it's not on mine. I'm looking at something else. I wonder if I can look at mine. I don't know. So I must have missed a comment or something. So I don't know what Mr. Overt said. Okay. So the 12 strand DNA and how it illuminates the codes and different things of that nature. All of that is true. But what also is true is how your DNA template is cultivated by divine orchestration, in how you, in your ninth dimensional self knowing, coming into incarnation, decided to incarnate it in your descent into human form. Okay, so there are many ways you can descend into human form. One way is through portal, another way is through vibrational shift. It's different ways to port into form. Okay, and the descend is always going to be in knowing until you incarnate into a physical avatar with with depending on the dimensional self you shift into. If you shift into a fifth dimensional state of consciousness, then you're not in the forgotten state. But if you shift into a third dimensional state of consciousness, um you can retain some of your knowing through divine remembrance, because you may come in. Oh, I erased it. You may come in a remembered state at a fourth dimensional state, or a higher octave of a third dimensional state, where you're at a higher octave of awareness, because a lot of babies are being born in a higher octave of third dimensional or fourth dimensional state level of consciousness. They're not in the discovery of themselves, because a lot of them refuse to work. A lot of them are knowing themselves. They're and the the ones that are in discovery, still in discovery, we're calling them lazy. We're calling them lazy. We're trying to pull them, the density, back them down into the density of the third dimensional self of what we have been anchored into. And they like, hell no, y'all old asses can stay in that bullshit. We ain't on that type of time. They here to show us, like, no, we here to change the fucking paradigm. And if y'all are, we can. I had this 1 year girl say, I can't wait till y'all old motherfuckers leave, because y'all delaying the process of this shit changing. Like, and I got that. I got that from an energetic perspective. That was one of those them warrior souls that probably came back into this incarnation and said, it's y'all motherfuckers that's holding this shit up with this ancient, this old ass, antiquated, dense ass perspective, wanting this hierarchy shit and all of these these denser cloaked aspects of holding density, and we over it. You understand what I'm saying? She okay. She said that, man. She was like, yes, y'all old ass ancient motherfuckers that come and trying to hold density, and I can't. And that was that. I don't even think that that was that girl that was speaking. I think that that was one of them. That was one of them crystalline templates that just illuminated and spoke in tone, ding, and just spoke through her like, yo, old ass motherfucker. Okay, y'all, we sick and tired of y'all. This I want to hold your. Okay. And I got it. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why I decided to stay a little younger, a little while longer. 'Cause I ain't want to be one of them ones. I ain't want to be one of them ones. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want to be one of them ones she was talking about. Because, I am a little up in age there. So I ain't want to be one. All right. But I got what she was saying. I got, I understood what she was saying. And she was like, who want to work, like, who want to work 30 years? Like, the math ain't mathy. And then by the, I got what she was saying. I understood wholeheartedly from an energetic perspective what she was actually speaking energetically. It did not make sense. The shift is, so she was one of the ones that was there to push the shift along out of its stagnant sense of understanding. You understand what I'm saying? So I got that push, and I was like, yeah, you wanna, you that rebel, you that rebel, I was on board, but I was on board with sister. I was like, yeah, she that one. I recognize the residents. I recognize the residents. She that rebel. But yeah, I get it. So she was like, I recognize. But I understand it. But the thing about it is, I get it too, sis. I don't like when they call them lazy. Yeah, I don't like it when they call them lazy, because energetically I understand what they're coming here to beacon. You understand the energetic value that they're coming here to beacon. And that's why I don't really bother my son too much, but my husband ain't on that type of time, because where he's from, the culture and all of that stuff and everything, that's just what he knows. But he's softening up, because my field is the dominant field. My energy field is the dominant field. And so And I hold that tone. And I have to tell you, you guys, I tell you all the time, me being in sharing a field in a three-dimensional field and holding this tone, it ain't no easy feat. It ain't easy holding this tone, this pure tone, and still being in that field without being, without absorbing that energy. And I have to do like an energy cleanse, come out there. And I don't like really walking barefoot in the dirt and everything because I never, I'm one of them kind of ones. But then I had to get out of that real quick if I wanted to survive, this, being in this holding this light and trying to manage. Otherwise, I would have been gotten back into that state of conditioning of being in the third dimensional consciousness absorb, because when you do absorb that energy and you have chosen a higher octave of light, that shit will knock you to the ground because you are completely incoherent. So I don't want to get you guys confused, but when you do energy hygiene and you do raise your vibration and you do raise your frequency and you do raise your energy value, this becomes dirty. You get knocked off. Your wind get knocked out. So when you raise your frequency, once you guys, because I'm going to do this a lot. So you guys want to get to if you really want to raise your frequency and you really want to change the way how you are experiencing and expressing and change your wealth dial, because I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, is how to change a wealth dial. It ain't through hustle. You can get there through hustle, yes. Okay, you can get there through hustle, but there's a better there's a I'm not going to say there's a better way, but there's a more. They always say you have the magnetism to attract that to which you are, and that's the truth because you're already attracting who you are. Your dial is at the you're just calibrated energetically to attract that of dissonance. If you change the coherence, then you'll begin to attract that to which you are out of the dissonant state. That's that's what that's what they're not telling you. They're telling you that you have the magnet. They have to have the magnetism. Yes, but if you are operating in dissonance and you are resonating still with the mask and not with the authentic version of self, how are you going to, if you're still resonating with dissonance and misalignment, how are you going to attract, how are you going to change your wealth? How are you going to change your wealth? How are you going to really come out of the hustle when you're tired? Okay, so for instance, like once people get into that state of being a millionaire, they can relax. That hustle changes because you don't see them coming in. You don't see them coming in. Once they get in a certain calibration of energy, they not trying to come back to that energy. They quickly learn that energy ain't it. Once they got into that hustle and they start getting in sound bowls, they start doing they start changing up, they start getting metaphysical quick. They start getting around people energetically. They start learning energy real fast. Because now the energy has gotten a little lighter. They got into that hustle game, yes, and that hustle game got them it. If they're smart, it got them in an energetic coherency. If they're smart, but some people they get that money and they still have problems because the mindset didn't change. It didn't change. That's why they say more money, more problems, because the mentality didn't change. But for those who mental did change, or they changed their energetic coherence and they begin to vibrate differently, you don't see them. You see they move different. They will give charity. They'll create. Now there's a reason why they create charities, yes. But they also know that that money still got to circulate somehow, because that's that's law. That's universal law. Okay, they got to circulate that money some kind of way. So they're giving to some type of charity. They're doing something. They're circulating that money somehow for energetic, so that they can stay coherent, because they cannot have stagnant energy. You cannot have stagnant energy. It has to flow. When you're operating from your eighth, your ninth, eighth, seventh dimensional self, when you're operating in form from your ninth, eighth, seventh dimensional self, that's fluid. Wealth is fluid. It flows. That's what people don't understand. It's not stagnant. That's the misnomer. You can't be burying it in the backyard somewhere. You can't be stacking it up. It's fluid. It has to flow. So when they tell you you got to save for a rainy day will surely come. Abundance is fluid. Yes, stories keep moving. Energy flows. Stories keep coming. It flows. Energy flows. It is not stagnant. You are the stagnant one. Okay? So when you get into the knowing of self, it changes the game tremendously in how you see yourself, how you see the experience, how you see every story, how you see Christianity, how you see they have a right to have Christianity. They have a right, but if that shit is stagnant, then I know where it resides. If it's cloaked, I know where it resides. If it's war, I know where it resides. If it's angry, I know where it resides. If it's controlling, I know where it resides. It is not to be, it's supposed to flow. So if you are hooked and bound by any of those things, then you are the one that is prohibiting your flow in the experience by what you are allowing to write your story in the ninth, eighth, and seventh, because that's the fluidity in the experience, that the energy is writing itself to come into the crystallization, the crystalline light self, to bring into being. The being, right? If it's not distorted, you can just be in that essence, right? But if it's distorted, it's going to shift into the emotional value within that fourth dimensional self, and then it's going to express in your third dimensional dissonance. Mask, because it's masked, the dissonant you. Now, let me know if you understand, overstand how I understand, overstand my now moment. Because everything is in your ascension, in your ascension, your mirror, let me see how I can do it. Your mirrored self in dissonance is being created. Your external mirrored self in dissonance is being created here. And it's crystallizing in form right here to drop down into the being. If it doesn't meet energetic coherence in the fifth dimensional self, because it's distorted and it's dissonant, then it's going to drop to the resonance of where it was created energetically, to which is the dissonant version of you in the third dimensional self, because it doesn't meet energetic coherence of the fifth dimensional you. So it can't stop in the essence of being. It has to go into the vibrational essence to which it was crystallized in, that distorted crystal. Remember, I told you about how crystals are formed, the hertz, the cymatics, and you have a 444 hertz cymatic, and how it what that 444 hertz cymatic is going to create in crystal, the shape that it creates versus a 432 hertz, what that creates in cymatics. Yes, yes, CeeLo say yes, yes. So if there is not a frequency match for it to stay in the fifth dimension to how it's created here in the crystallization, then the resonance is going to take it to where it was created in the third dimensional dissonance. And that's how you're going to experience it, right? In your reflection of self, because you don't know yet how to create. Now, let's talk about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not in reflection of self because he knows self. So guess what he automatically does, right? He's creating, he knows the knife. So he's writing his intentions. He's setting the frequencies in the eighth dimension. So he got a whole list of intentions. He got all the intentions that how he wants to create in. So he knows he wants to create in whatever intentions, the frequency of love, the frequency of power, the frequency of this, the frequency of that. Oh, he's writing it down because he knows he doesn't need reflection. In knowing, you don't need reflection to reflect on the external to do anything. In knowing, you write in your own frequency container, right? You setting the intention in knowing, you writing the creation of what it is that you want to have architected, right? So now you doing the blueprint yourself. You're doing the blueprint yourself. Okay, and knowing, because now you know yourself. You don't need the mirror of anybody else's frequencies to do this for you. Okay, if you are at the and so once all of this is done and you don't put the creation and it goes into crystallization, if you are already at the energy coherence, then all you have to do is just it stops at the fifth dimensional self and you experience your billionaire self, your millionaire self. You do as you do as you please. It's you already meeting energetic coherence of just being. Because you don't have to go down into your fourth dimensional self to remembrance. You don't have to go into your third dimensional self of awareness, of awakening. You're no longer in the lower bandwidth of mirroring whether or not if you are, what is it? Resonance or dissonance. You have ascended past that. Okay? Because you're in knowing now. You're knowing. You know thyself. And you're in energetic coherence. You are in resonance. And you got energy hygiene. And that's why he don't go into media. He very rarely go into media. And his media is very controlled. He doesn't it's very controlled. And it's the person, whoever, if it's not an energy coherent person that he can feel comfortable in sitting down with an interviewer, he's not doing it because of energy hygiene. In knowing and not believing, exactly. In knowing, he's creating, he knows, His intention, he knows. His creation, he knows. So when he put all that together and crystallizes in form, it goes to his fifth dimensional self, and he's big. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do all that other stuff. That's the difference. Many of us is still mirroring mass being, because we're not moving in our authenticity. Even at the 3D level, we're not, even at the fourth dimensional level, we're somewhat trying to get there, but we're still working at a job that we don't want to work at because we still got to survive. We got these bills. We got these bills to pay, right? We're still on survival. And I get it. I understand it. So don't get it twisted now. I get it. Because honey, it took me a hot minute. And I still ain't made no money yet off of this thing. Okay? So I get it. But you have to start somewhere. So do what you love to do, even if it's on the weekends. Move somewhere, somehow in your authentic self and be consistent. Start small and then gradually grow until one day you start seeing, because you have faith in yourself to know that this is the true you. The universe, your universe will do the rest. You're already coded. Hi, King Ali. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful and welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Your universe will do the rest, right? Like I said, I'm going to constantly in so many different ways give you guys the code. Now, as I said, energy can make you sick and energy can make you well. It's either you are radiation or you radiate. Okay? Radiation is toxicity. Okay? And sometimes you don't mean to be toxic. Okay? You either are radiation or you radiate. And some beings that radiate, okay? Yes, Mr. Obi, let's radiate. Okay? So energy hygiene allows that to be where you can radiate instead of being radiation. Right? Mr. Obi, yes, I recognize me. And the thing about it is that it's not about you pointing the finger at somebody else and saying, oh, you toxic, because three fingers coming back at you. It ain't about the person. It's not about the X or the next. It's about you. Okay? Focus on self. If you focus on yourself, then the domino effect will take care of itself. If everybody just focus on themselves and work on themselves and stop worrying about everybody else, yes, it starts with you. If you focus on yourself and stop worrying about what somebody else is and ain't doing and just worry about yourself, worry about starting your own YouTube channel or starting your own business, right? Do it for yourself, changing the essence of yourself within, and worried about what you doing or what you ain't doing, right? It'll self correct, because now the true focus is you focusing on yourself, the self, you. Because once you change your world, the world around you will reflect that change. Okay? It has no choice. But we gonna get into it because I ain't playing. I ain't playing. Y'all see, I ain't playing. I went and bought me a board and some markers. And I'm not playing because I said it's one thing for me to speak it. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you. It's one thing for me to speak it. But if y'all see me scrabbling on this board, okay, it might make a little bit more sense. Thank you, Mr. Allred. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Golden Sugar. Thank you, King Ali. What you laughing at, King? It might make a little bit more sense. Thank you, T Love. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Right? Okay. So I and another thing, you guys, put something in the chat that you guys want me to speak on. I'm grateful, King. I'm grateful, King. You are so divinely welcome, because if you want us, and like I said, these are for those that truly want to ascend themselves vibrationally in the state of being. Uh, okay, because it's delayed. It's delayed. Yeah, because I know it's scrabble, honey. I know I be all over the place, but I know that just, and let me know if you guys need me to make it a little bit more neater, because I don't know. I just went crazy over him. Oh yeah, that's all. That's all discombobulated over there. But this is the dimensional use. I went and got a whole yes. I went and got a whole board, because I just felt like, for me talking, I understand what I'm saying and it makes sense to me. But sometimes a little bit of an illustration goes a long way. And I'm not at a level of advancement yet to bring it, into cinematic form in the manner to which I would like for it to be. But then I also feel like I'm cinematic. I feel like I'm the talent. I feel like I'm the talent. My being is enough. And my thing of it is, I want to also say, you know, you guys are worthy. I think a lot of times people get so technical about their knowledge base. We forget to be compassionate in ourselves, to say that, damn, we worthy enough. We're worthy. That's a big issue in the survival mind, is that our self-worth has kind of like gone out of the window. But I'm here to remind you that you are worthy. You are worthy. Your ninth dimensional you knows that it's worthy. Always. It has never forgotten its worth. So that pilot light that is within you right now today is sitting like this, like the thinker, saying, okay, you're worthy, right? When you going to find the authentic version of you to reflect in the third dimensional self that you're worthy? Because all these damn masks that you running up against, that reminding you that you don't have no self-worth, all these masks that you're mirroring, when you gonna run into an authentic version of you that shows you that you're worthy? Because your worth has never, ever, ever gone anywhere. So when are you gonna run into that version? Well, you just ran into one. Here she is, right here. You are worthy. It never left. The ninth dimensional you has arrived. She's here. To come and remind you, you rode into your descended self to run into me, for me to come and tell you that your worth ain't never left. It has always been. I'm here to remind you and tell you, God damn it, it's time for you to align back to the truth of you. Okay? It never left. That pilot light has always been on. Alpha and Omega. The beginning and the end. Never went off. You are worthy. The ninth dimensional you never forgot itself. It's just playing in the field of energy. Decided to have a little fun in the dissonance of self. Decided to have a little fun in the discovery of self. But it is always known that it was never any of those things. It was just experiencing it. It's always known. Now it's up to you to get your energetic hygiene in order so that you can become in alignment to that knowing. And yes, it's going to be some phases. Energetic cleanse, you got to go through a cleanse. You gotta first remember to know that potentially what I'm saying could be potentially true. But only you, what I'm saying has to resonate. And if it doesn't resonate right now, that's okay. Because maybe right now, an aspect of you want to believe the cloaked side of fight the power. Doom, doom, doom. Come on now, fight power. Because we are the chosen ones. Our melanin is powerful. And you know what? I'm not saying that that's not true. Because the divine would not have never created that story if the aspect of the divine did not want to experience it in that energy, in that creational value. Mr. Over said, it so resonate. I example clarity today. It felt so good. I am so divinely grateful. I'm so divinely grateful, Mr. Over. And I'm telling you, that's a good feeling because when I do the line in the sand, and I said that your story doesn't have to be my story, nor does your story change the value of how I feel about you. That's surrender. That's a beautiful surrender. I respect where you are. I have love for where you are. I have compassion for where you are. And I don't have to belittle you for your choices that you made in your story. It's your story. It was your decision to choose in the way that you chose the reality. And I forgive you. To forgive you is to forgive myself. It released me from that density, from that experience. Because if I hold on to that density by matching your energy, it keeps me in that vibrational space to that where you're choosing to be. And that's a space that I no longer choose to dwell energetically, vibrationally, and in frequency. I don't choose those energy containers. See? See, Mr. Oh, Mr. Over said, thank you, Rosa. Mr. Over said, I said the words at the same time. See? I'm grateful. Yeah. So, the next live, we're going to do energy hygiene. We're going to talk about this money thing because you are the currency. But I got to gradually get you guys into that momentum. But we first got to clean the energy, and we first got to understand how to clean the energy, right? And I gave you guys a little bit of what that looks like when you're picking, choosing storylines to energetically invest in, how to energetically invest in these storylines, the resonance of that story, the identifiers of that energy story. Because if you're trying to get into the being state, right, your being state is the true you, the true you. What is the true you? Not what your mama told you, not what your daddy told you. It may go against every grain that is out here right now. It may just go against everything that's out here. It may just go against everything. It may just, if I have to put myself out there on the line, I'm gonna tell you what my truth. I'm gonna tell you what my authenticity is. My authenticity is I don't hate the illusion of separation, but I'm not I'm not a big fan of dissonance or distortion. So anything distorted, anything that's dissonant, to be honest with you, that ain't me. So when you talk about hierarchy, not a big fan of that. I respect the fact of the experience itself, and for those who choose to express it, and it has its space, it has its place. But I personally, I'm not a big fan of it. That's my truth. So racism, sexism, all of the isms, people trying to tell people that they shouldn't be this and they shouldn't be that. And you don't understand that the divine has chosen a being to be this way, and the being to express itself in this way. But you trying to make man control that's dissonance. So when you see somebody saying that I'm a boy trapped in a girl's body, they're not trapped. The dissonance said that it wasn't okay for them to express themselves in that way. That's dissonance. That's dissonance. Because the authenticity of them says that biologically, it may say I'm this. But my authenticity says I'm that. So you're saying that I must misalign my authenticity because you want to now control. That's dissonance. I don't care what y'all say. If it's not resonance, it's misaligned. I don't care what y'all say. I deal with energy, frequency, and vibration. The story is an experience. Now, if y'all want to make an experience out of it to create dissonance, now that's a whole nother thing, because y'all creating survival frequencies. Okay? But I over here deal with energy, frequency, and vibration. And anytime you try to take someone out of their authenticity, you are creating dissonance, which creates misalignment energetically. Period. 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 I don't care what your Bible say. I don't care what, if y'all's misreading it, I don't care what you say. If you take somebody out of their residence, you're creating dissonance. If a being come to you and say, this is my authentic self, because their energy first. Physical is the last thing that comes into form. I don't care. The physical thing is the last to manifest. The sixth dimensional you is what crystallizes. It's the chrysalis into form. The sixth dimensional you is the chrysalis before you come into being. And whatever frequency that comes into being, if it doesn't resonate into your fifth dimensional being in resonance, and it has the resonance of your third dimensional self, then that's where it creates in form. So energy comes before being. That's why I say, what I'm giving y'all here, any story, any story, any story You will be able to wash and clean it to its purity by the time I'm done with my whiteboard. With my whiteboard. What are you broadcasting? The 360-degree you series. Sorry, Siri. Okay? I said series, and Siri said, uh-huh. Wanna be starting something? You got to be starting something. I said, you wanna be starting something? You got to be starting something. To how to get over, yeah, yeah. To learn to get under, yeah, yeah. You're stuck in the middle, yeah, yeah. Pain is thunder, yeah. To how to get over, yeah. To learn to get under, yeah. You're stuck in the middle, yeah, yeah. And the pain is thunder, yeah. Ah. Oh, God. Woo! Yes. So when you see it here, and like I said, yes, before you guys come on here and try to say something else, yes, you have the oversoul, you have the causal body, you have the planes of existence. Yes, that's the interconnection of the dimensional selves. I know about all of that too, and I'm gonna talk about those two. I'm gonna talk about that too. I'm gonna bring that into the equation. But see, that's the bullshit. They'll give you the mediocrity, and then they'll give you the complexity, but they won't really give you the practicality that will allow you to be able to understand the divine self in the functionality that'll get you to the next level. How long they been talking about the fifth dimensional self? 5D, 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 5D. Okay, well, break the shit down. Break it, break it down. Break the shit down. Okay. Break it down. Yeah, break it down. Like that's how it is. Oh, you got to get to the 12th dimensional self, and it's 12 stranded DNA, and you got to activate the 12 stranded crystals. And then somebody want to sound like they're the genius of the bunch, and I'm not taking nobody's genius away. I understand that, but not all of us is genes are us and shit. Okay? I'm a GED. Shit. I got a GED, even though I passed the shit on the first try. But hell. That's because I wanted to get the shit over with, and I didn't want to hear my grandma mouth. So I went in there, took the test, and it was done. Okay? But at the end of the day, I'm a GED recipient. Okay? I'm GED over here, right? Because I didn't want to be bothered with their school. Nevertheless, neither here nor there. I knew that there is a simplified sense of understanding. I put that out there in the universe, and my universe, voila. Okay? Voila. All right? Now, the thing about it is that they can't tell me that I'm wrong. See, that's the beauty about it. They can't say I'm wrong with what I'm saying right here. And when you repeat the shit, they can't tell you that you're wrong either. The only thing they can do is take what I've said and make it complicated. Hound dog, where you been? That's all they can do is make it complicated. Hi, Chris. 18. Blessings to you as well. Gratitude for your presence and thank you for tuning in. Voila. All they can do is take what I've said and make it complicated. So, well, there's a lot more to what you just said. It's more intricate and more defined than what you just said. But do people understand the words that are just coming out of my mouth? Why does it have to be complicated? If people want to move to the next octave of light, because that's what the third dimensional level of consciousness is: chaos and confusion, confusion and chaos. Okay? To confuse you. Well, the dude in the DNA, and you have the neuromelanin, and then you have the phenomelanin, and the phenomelanin, it retracts the light, and the neuromelanin is the dark matter energy, and because I don't give a shit about that, I just need to know how that shit operates in this avatar in form. I'm informed, for God's sake. My consciousness is informed. Gratitude. I'm grateful, Chris. I'm grateful. I just need to know how this shit operates in form. God damn it, shit. A phenomelanin and a neuromelanin. And because it's dark matter energy. Okay. I get all of that. Okay. That's genius. But how does this shit work? How do I get from one phase to the next? Shit, breath work. Ground yourself. Energy hygiene. Take your ass from around these damn dense ass people that watch social media. Okay? They beaconing all of this toxicity, right? That's why people sick, because of energy. All of this dissonant energy, toxic energy. That's why people sick. Energy in food. Energy is in everything. Let's tell the real truth around this mug. Talking bullshit. But it's okay. Quantum simplified. If you know energy hygiene, right? Yeah, too, Ken. I got that board. And I love colors, girl. How you doing, beautiful? Yes. It's energy in everything. Now, you can ground, you can clear. You got to learn how to clear, you got to learn how to ground. You got to learn how to not absorb. There are things that goes along with being in density when you are sharing fields with those. Like I brought an analogy up 2 days ago about the loaf of bread series, right? When beings used to, back in the day, said that they're going for a loaf of bread, okay? And they didn't return. And society and density condemned them for leaving their families. Oh, that's the wrong thing to do. They left their family destitute. Okay. For the story, that's true. But for the sovereign being that probably didn't come at a denser template, they probably came in at their fourth dimensional state or a higher octave of the third dimensional state. They were like, you chose that story. I ain't coming on that octave of light. I ain't choosing that dense. I ain't choose that dense ass story. So because you're choosing that density of experience, I ain't choosing. So I'm going for a loaf of bread, and y'all could choose that story line. I don't choose that storyline. We ain't together in this storyline. I don't choose to share my energy field with you in this storyline. That's energy hygiene. That's energy preservation. Society ain't got shit to do with how you choose to express your energy. I don't give a good when you gangster about your energy and you realize that this shit is roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That was that ninth dimensional self that said, bruh, sis, this ain't nothing but a dream, you know. You can move on, move on, move on. Now, it do sound like an insensitive situation, but that's energy hygiene. That's when you don't let a story govern your being. Fifth dimensional you. Because that brother must have shifted out of a fifth dimensional self, just a dream. That brother must have fitted, he must have said, oh, snap. I decided to shift into a density. Shit, I went a little too deep into it. Shit, I done went into the pits of hell. This is some distorted shit, poverty. Shit, I gotta go. I gotta lie and say I'm going for a loaf of bread just to shift back into my 5D self. I ain't signed up for this shit. Well, I did sign up for this shit, but I ain't know it was that deep. Shit, I dipped too low into the frequency, and it left. And yeah, he got called every name but the child of God, but he got up out of that energy. He got up out of that energy. Now, how he got up out of that energy, we don't know. He may did a 9 or he may did a 0. We don't know. Because it's either you're gonna do a 3-6 equal a 9, or you're gonna do a 360 0 point. We don't know. But he got up out of there. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. I'm a realist over here. I don't know. I don't know how to have. Is there a such thing as etiquette? I don't got none. I don't know. I call it. I'm a spade. It's that thug in me. I get thug coming out. That's a spade is a spade. Hey, they threw that dense ass story in the trash and said rewrite, do over. I come back in on the next go around and another different type of. I ain't on this type of time. This timeline ain't for me. It's too dense. So they either went back into their authorship and rewrote themselves, like they just knew what to do. Uh, I'm going, honey. I'm going for a loaf of bread. I'm back. Be back. And then went on a ship, and turned into a merchant seaman or something or whatever, and never looked back. It wasn't on that type of time. And it's not an easy story. It's not a and one might say, well, Patrice, you are so insensitive. How in the world? And I'm going to say to you, it's okay. I love the fact that you love your stories. You love your stories. I have compassion for all stories, but I understand anything. And that's it. Yeah, you don't judge people for where they are. You just understand where you are at. And you hold space and compassion for them, but you don't allow yourself to be absorbed by where they are at in their understanding, especially if it's a denser sense of understanding. because they're not going to understand where you are at because they expect for you to be where they are at in their understanding. And it's not that you don't understand where they are at because you've been there energetically, vibrationally, where they are at. Because once upon a time, I would have probably been like, oh my God, he did what? Girl, seriously? Oh my God. Yeah, I would have been there. But now I understand, I get it. But I have compassion for the family that he left in that state of mind. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not going to go there in that vibration to where that family is at because I also understand why he probably really left that storyline because it was just too dense for him. He didn't choose that reality. He was like, "No, that I ain't with that storyline. I ain't agreeing to that storyline to where it reside at energetically, vibrationally, and in frequency." So he authored another story. He went back to the authorship. This is your authorship. Creation is your authorship. This is your ark, your container, right? Your frequency container. But we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna use some terminologies. You guys are gonna learn how to create your own reality, because you know, at a blink of an eye, you can shift into your ninth dimensional self. But I'm gonna repetition is key. How do you guys think you guys got into the lower arc of self? How do you guys think you got into the lower arc of self? Through repetition, through media, constant inundation. So what you think I'm going to do? I'm going to constantly inundate you with this shit here. It's going to be on repeat mode over and over again and again for those of you guys that are truly ready to understand yourself into the higher octaves of the divine self. Understanding it in a multitude of ways. With the snap of a finger, you surely can, absolutely. You just have to be ready to be in that space. You have to be ready to be in that space. That's pretty much it. You know, it is that it really is this simple. It really is this simple. The hard, I don't really want to say it's hard. It's just that a lot of belief, like, one of the hardest, I don't want to say it's hard. One of the things is that, let me tell you what some of the things, a dissonance. One of the major dissonances is, let's see, that you have to reverse the poles. One of the major dissonances is seeing it in order to believe it. Okay? That's a dissonance. Okay? That's a major dissonance. The dissonance is that you have to see it in order to believe it. Okay? That's a dissonance. In knowing, okay, in knowing, the reason why you don't have to see it in order to believe it, because you're creating it in fluidity, which is your 8, 7, and 6 dimensional self. You're creating it in energy, right? So you're not going to see it, right? Because you already know that your 8, 7, and 6 self is creating it in pure fluidity energy. Okay, so you don't see that. It's in the unseen of self. You already know that you are creating it. So the knowing, the knowing is knowing to see it. not believing, knowing it to see it. Not believing it to see it. It's knowing it to see it. Right, your 360-degree you. So it's knowing it to see it, right? Not seeing it to believe it, or believing it to see it, or know it's knowing it to see it, right? You don't, it doesn't have to be like the money. Okay, so the money doesn't have to be in your account to know that it's there, because you are the money. You are the true currency. You are the wealth. You are the abundance. You are the abundant self. Everything is a byproduct to that to which you are. You just have to shift the energy dial. Okay. So your abundant self is here. What happened was is that because we were reflecting dissonance, or we were reflecting in the mass, we were reflecting our intention in lack. So we were crystallizing energetically to experience in form, experience, EXPERIENCE. We were experiencing the form in a lack mind itself. And then because we didn't want to experience in lack mind itself, we thought hustle was the way out, but we were still experiencing in a scarcity mindset, or we were experiencing um in a survival state, which is still dense, which is still a dissonance, unaligned. Because the aligned aspect is that you don't have to experience in dissonance, or that to which that is not of the authentic version of yourself. So anything that is not authentic to that of which who you are in truth is dissonance, and it's misaligned. Okay. So I'm gonna go over these things again, over and over again. And now you can sit down and say, okay, well, how am I operating in misalignment? If you're doing a job that you don't want to do, you're misaligned. If you're in a relationship that you don't want to be in, you're misaligned. If you're staying in a situation that you do not want to stay in and you're just trying to survive, it's all misaligned. So there's a lot of misalignments that's going on because we're operating out of survival. But it's not to judge, it's just showing you the displacement of how we are in displaced energy and what we have to do to clean it up. So to clean it up is start doing little things here and there that place you in alignment, and it will gradually take you out of misalignment. So find one thing that's easy for you to, start you off to gradually get you out of misalignment. The easiest thing, it could be something easy. Find you another job that you love to do. Something simple. If because relationships are hard. When you love somebody and different things. I'm not telling you to take the hardest thing. Now, if you G like that, and you can take the hard, or if you're already halfway out the door, and that might just be the easiest thing for you to do is just going on ahead and sever the cord. But sever the cord that is almost severed. You know what I'm saying? The thing that is mostly almost severed, that you almost out the door, it's almost severed the most, then go ahead and sever the cord that is almost 3/4 of the way severed, and start aligning yourself, little bit by little bit. That's how you start. Begin severing the cords to the things that are misaligning you. But we're going to get into it. I'm determined because it's cathartic to me too. It's therapeutic to me too. I had to, it was hard for me to get online and do this. It was hard for me to get on YouTube, but I'm doing it. It was hard for me to do stream. It was hard for me to, do these little things here because I had a problem with people charging for free information. Like, I feel like the universe I had a problem with receiving. So now I understand that money has to flow. You have to, it has to. So now I'm working on receiving. Diving deep for waters, yes. It wasn't, yeah, right. That's, but see, that was my misalignment. Right. It's not hard. Yes. You're right, sis. That was my misalignment. Saying that it was hard. You're right. It wasn't hard. But that was my misalignment because I hadn't got into survival mode that I didn't know how to receive. I always knew how to give, but energy has to flow. So you have to be able to receive just as well as give, right? You can't just be giving and then when somebody trying to give you something in return, be like, oh no, 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 it's okay. You stopping the flow when you're doing that. Oh no, it's okay, it's okay. The universe is trying to give you something in return. So you stop the flow. Huh? Yeah. Oh, it's back on? It's back on? What is a storm outside? It's a storm outside? Okay, you guys, I'm going through a storm. Oh, I'm back. Okay, yes. It's a storm outside, you guys. Oh, it knocked your TV out? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, yeah. I don't know. It is really, it said, it still say pause. I don't know. Are you guys still able to see? Are you guys still able to see me? because I'm not able to. Okay, okay, maybe. Okay, all right. So I don't know. I'm just maybe that's my cue to probably stop. I don't know. I don't even see anything out here. I got my windows open, but I don't even see anything. All right, you guys. Yeah, I can't even see on my other end of my other phone. It's not even. It's not even moving. It's not even moving. So I don't even know if you guys can see. But all right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live because I don't know what's happening. But if you guys can see me, I can't see you guys anymore. Um, I can't see anybody anymore. It's like it is done. But I hope you guys enjoyed this live and everything. I'm going to probably tomorrow. I'm going to do another live because tomorrow is Saturday, and so I'm going to do another live tomorrow. So if you guys, for those of you guys that are still there, I can't see anything anymore. But if you are still there, I'm going to do another live tomorrow as a continuum of the quantum simplified version of the 360-degree U. What are you broadcasting? To give you guys some information, more information about energy hygiene. So therefore that you can start scanning energetically people, places, persons, and things that comes into your energy field. Okay. And the storylines, the cloaks. And like I said, there is no judgment on any story that comes into your field. You're going to be able to understand through the essence of you now coming to terms of what is your purest of authenticity, and you'll be able to now recognize what is mask and what is your pure resonance. So these are some of the things that is going to now uh, recalibrate your field so that you can now move into the tone of authenticity that's going to take you out of the dissonance mask of expression, and allow that shift to begin to shift out of the creation in the eighth, the seventh, and the sixth dimensional self to more reflect the authentic you. And then now when you begin to reflect the authentic you, then that's when the tone of the awakening is going to start to commence, because now you're more shifting in the tone of the authentic you. And then that's when that tone of the awakening tone will more likely start to begin to activate, because you're now more out of the tone of dissonance and you're more in the tone of the pure authenticity of you. And that's going to start to get you more in the momentum. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to be about it, right? And we're going to have some sense of understanding where you're going to be recognizing a lot of different stories where you can begin to have energetic hygiene, because you're going to begin to gravitate more to the authentic version of self. All right. So I am so grateful. We've been on here for a couple of hours. I'm grateful that you guys held space with me. I love you guys immensely. Thank you guys for tuning into my frequency for as long as you have. I had a ball. I had a tremendous time. My internet went out. I guess there's some storm that's going on, so let me go ahead and get off while I have the ability to get off and get situated. But I will be on here tomorrow, bringing something different in addition to what are you broadcasting? The 360-degree U. This is the ascended version. I may speak on a little bit more about the descended version tomorrow. All right. All right. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so sorry I can't see nothing anymore. But I hope you guys have an amazing evening, and we shall do this again tomorrow. I love you guys. Later. Bye. Bye.